Alright, this is the third video for Module 17, Packet Part 2. And we are looking at page 19 and talking about a different way of using the normal curve calculator. Okay, so just as a reminder, how do we find that calculator? We go into week 11 and we click on the normal curve calculator and that opens this up. If you wish to use Google to find it, you just type in normal curve calculator and the website you want is the David M. Lane. Alright, so this tool is very valuable in helping us do these problems. So in this question, we're doing something a little bit different in finding information. So in the previous two examples, we were given the probability of finding a woman with a certain height or a GPA in the other problem. In this question, though, what we're trying to find is we're given the percent. So sometimes what you want to know is, for example, suppose we need to find the critical value that separates the top 6% of heights of women from the lower 94%. Again, we will use this website to find this missing value, but we have to use, and let me highlight this again, the second radio button. All right, what do I mean by that? Over here on this website, if I am given the percent first, I have to work backwards. So I have to click this button right here. Again, notice the button that I'm clicking on is to find the value from the area. Alright, so let's see what we need to do for information that we need. Well, it looks like we need the area. In this question, it's 6%. So if we type in 6%, I guess I can't type in 6%. I have to type in 0.06 and hit enter. So if I type in 0.06, I have to convert the percent to a decimal. But I need to know the mean and standard deviation. I didn't put this information in. So if you recall from the previous video, if I go back, it says the height of women, and this is just again the previous example, has a mean of 64 with a standard deviation of 4. Alright, so let's go back to this part. So it has a mean of 64 inches, so women have an average height of 5'4" with a standard deviation of 4 inches, and I hit enter. Alright, so what did we want to find? We wanted to find the upper 6% of women. See what's shaded over here on the paper? Well, look onto my website here. See how that is shaded? That corresponds exactly to the information that I want. So I needed to have this keyword above. Here is the answer. So women that are 70 inches tall, 70.22 inches tall, will meet the requirement that it separates the top 6% of women. So women have to be 5'10" or taller to be in the top 6%. Alright, so let's go back and try some others here. Alright, so let's go to this next page. And it says, we know that the mean represents 50% of the values and the median is also 50% because this is a normal curve. The normal curve has the same median and mean. So for this next part, it says, suppose we want to know what separates the top 10% from the lower 90%. Alright, so if I'm trying to guess the position, because I just did the other problem, I'm guessing that it's going to be a little bit more shaded. Maybe it's a little bit shaded here to the left, and I'll be dark and have this darkened in. So I would make this guess over here. Now I'm going to use the technology to find her height. Alright, so I want the top 10%. So the area that I want is 0.10, and I hit enter. And it did move over here to the left, and the height of that person is 69 inches approximately. So a woman that is 5'9" or taller represents the top 10% of women in their heights. Would a woman this tall be unusually tall? Remember the empirical rule as you explain your answer? The answer is no, because we're looking for something that is less than 5%. Alright, so let's try the next one. Use technology to find the height which separates the lower 1% of women's heights from the upper 99%. Separates the lower 1% of heights from the upper 99%. So if I type in 1% here, and if I look at my picture, does that look like it's representing the lower 1%? So I have to change my button here. I want below. If I select below, now I am separating the lowest 1% of women from the rest. And that height is 54, almost 55 inches. And 55 inches is 4'7". So if a woman was 4'7" or shorter, then that would demonstrate the lower 1% of all women. Would this woman's height be unusually short? Yes, since it falls within 5% of the end. So in other words, this is an unusual event. It only occurs 1% of the time. And we would consider something unusual in statistics as something only occurring 5% of the time. So this definitely meets the criteria that it would be unusually short. All right, finally, let's do one more example. I'm going to skip down to page 22. And let's do all of these questions on page 22. All right, so it says, the time it took for students to complete a statistics test follows a distribution as approximately normal. The mean was 74 minutes, and the standard deviation was 8 minutes. What is the proportion of students that took more than 1 hour, 60 minutes to complete the test? So I'm not given a percent here. I have to change this button back to area, because this question is back to the traditional one. I need to find the probability. All right, so the mean is 74. The standard deviation is 8. And I want to find out took more than 60 minutes. So I want above 60. And if you notice my picture here, it's everything shaded from here to the right. And that's about 96% of all my students. All right, let's try the next one. What is the probability that a student needed between 70 and 80 minutes to complete the test? All right, so I need the word between. Again, see, I need the word between here. So I would do between 70 and 80 and press enter. And you can see the sliver here of people who, the number of students who finished during that time. And it's about 46.5%. So 46% of the students required 70 to 80 minutes to complete the test. All right, finally the last question. How long did it take the fastest 5% of the students to complete the test? Now, fastest would mean a short amount of time. And notice the percent. Since I'm given the percent, I have to change this from area to value. And I have to update my information in here. Okay, so I have to put in my mean is 74. My standard deviation was 8. And the area that I want, this 5% here, I have to put in 0.05 and press enter. All right, so I wanted the fastest 5% of the students, so the fastest 5% would be below. So I have to select below. And it took the fastest 5% of students 61 minutes approximately to finish the test. Those were the students who finished quickly. All right, so I hope that helps showing you how I'm finding the actual number given the percentage. All right, and that concludes these videos here for Module 17.3, and these videos should help you on your Test 2 as well. So you can refer back to them when you do your test. All right, good luck.